So is there hope? Is there hope in the future? Or is this going to be one of a number of skeletons to just stay in the closet?
Well, I think it's like everything else. I think that unless somebody stands up and says it ain't going to be done anymore, as this, you know, and as I told council the other night, you guys adopted this report from the private investigator. Now you're trying to work around it. I don't think it was right.
Are you standing up? Are you the person that's standing up and stopping this?
Well, I think that, and again, it's not a secret around City Hall. I mean, Andre is not happy the way things are being carried out, and I believe that taxpayers deserve a response on how their money's spent. I think, it's time to stop these smoke bombs.
They say that things come in threes. Do you think Mayor Kilgour's going to finish his term?
I'm not going to talk to Mayor Kilgour. That's his decision. I think that you know, he's doing his job. You know, I wish him all the best. I know he's done healthy. That's the last thing I want anybody to happen to anybody. But I think the bottom line is the city's going to continue to be run. And, you know, it's great to be in all these committees outside of town, but when you've got problems in your home, you should be at home and taking care of them.
So if you could make one request of the public, if you could implore the public to do one thing right now, what would you ask the public to do?
Well, I would ask the public, well, basically I think the public has to be standing up in mass and coming to, first of all, start with City Hall and then demand that these things are made public from now on. I mean, I don't think we can go back, but I think that in the future, and I get a commitment to that. And if that's not the case, if they're not prepared to do that, well, then I think the next step is municipal affairs.
But what would the process be then? How does the public actually address City Hall? How would you like to see the public interact with Councilor City Hall? What would you like to see the public do?
Well, I think what the public has to do is maybe get about 5,000 signatures and then bring a petition to council demanding that all these settlements no longer occur in secrecy, and they want to know where their dollars are being spent. And if the council, the mayor and council are not prepared to do that, I think you have to make it very clear the next step will be going to municipal affairs and the MPP's office.
Do we need to see the public at the City Hall during the council meetings?
Well, I think it's important that you know, you don't have to be the same people all the time, but I think people should be there to know exactly what's going on for these meetings. I think Coach does a good job. You guys do a good job in the press, but I think that they have to understand that they have to be there to make sure things are done the way they're supposed to be done. And I think a presentation to council would be the first step. And voicing your opinion that they want this thing settled.
Do you think that council would allow that? I mean, I've now put in my 4th request to council to speak before council about the online advertising slur that was done with that policy, and Madam Clerk and Mayor Kilgour are refusing to allow me to dispute that one paragraph.
Okay, I can't talk for it. I mean, as you know, that goes through the clerk's office. It goes to the mayor's office.
But shouldn't anybody in the city making a proper presentation be allowed to speak before council? Isn't that how democracy works, no matter what the issue is?
It is, Jane, but I think, and I don't want to get into this case that we're talking about here, but I think there's other ways of somebody sitting down and discussing and finding out what was said, what was done.
And speaking of democracy, and there's been a number of times now where the media have not been notified of council meetings that are supposed to be publicly notified. There's been outrage, there's been emails sent to the clerk's office, and media's been assured this is not going to happen again, it's a glitch, and it keeps happening and happening. What, beyond having every city ratepayer calling every day and saying, do you have a meeting plan for today? And the media calling and saying, do you have a meeting plan for today? What else can the public do and the media do? Like, is that what they're looking for? Should everyone be calling every day and saying, Denise, do you have a meeting schedule?
No. And I think that I said that in the last interview. Council have to make administration accountable. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to make it accountable, then you're going to continue having the same problems. You know, and I think that's the main thing. I mean,
because I can call Denise, I can call City Hall 3 times a day, asking if they scheduled a meeting.
Well, they've lied.
I have no problem doing that.
They've lied. There was a meeting where I believe you were purposely misled. I think it was the Benson Center meeting.
Well, I was prevented from attending a meeting that.
Yeah, well,
That
I
was
mean,
held with the
I can tell you the closed council meetings that occurred, and I don't call them private meetings because they never intended to be private meetings. If somebody forgot to send you something, it's not the intention of council to do that. I think that it was.
Am I wrong to say, is there such a thing, even as a closed council meeting? Is there just a council meeting, a public council meeting where you go into in-camera and then come back out of the in-camera session?
Well, as you know, you go in camera for some specific reasons.
I thought all council meetings were public meetings, and then if you wanted to go in camera, you had to pass a resolution.
You're right.
To go in
You
camera.
start
You
off.
have to start off open meeting.
You're right.
So
You're right.
really, there's no such thing as a private meeting.
Well, I can tell you, since you guys have started raising the thing, I can tell you that that's been done the last 3 or 4 times. And again, you're right. I mean, I was told the other day, you know, when I questioned about the issue of the investigator's report. Well, we've been doing this for years. Well, just because you're doing it for years, that don't mean it's right.
That's right.
You know. So I said, let's find out what's right and let's get it done. But I can tell you, you know,
because then you don't really have the, once again, if you can exclude the public, where are the checks and balances? If the public is kept in the dark.
I said that in all my interviews. I said that the public has to be, you know, they have to be kept informed, and that's, you know, and I mean, you know, people don't mind paying taxes, but the bottom line is they want to know the taxes they're paying are being used for what they're meant to be, and not meant to be buyouts and everything else. You know? And over the last 1.5 years, I said it's, you know,
1.4 million in climbing.
you can climb that pretty quick. So all I'm saying is it's got to the point where people have to be very vocal about making their municipal politicians accountable. I think it's, you can do that respectfully. I'm not saying going out there and throwing stones at them. What I'm saying is they have to understand that the taxpayers in this resident are at a point that they want to know where you're spending the money. And not at budget time, but any issues that come out of the ordinary of operating budgets, they should know that, you know.
Just to throw this, and this is kind of something for Jamie maybe,
Yeah.
but Jamie and Rebecca Sorrell have formed a group that I think they're looking at trying to raise issues in the city and make council more accountable.
But I mean,
you
have
need
to
something
do it
like that.
Yes, but do it for a specific reason. If you're doing it to make sure that you know things are being held accountable and you know how the dollars are being spent, that's one thing. If you're doing it because of an issue, if you're doing it because of an issue, specific issue, and I don't want to get into beavers. That's another issue. I mean,
but there's a case where I think that democracy actually worked the way it's supposed to work for maybe one of the first times in a long time I've seen in Cornwall. Certainly I haven't seen democracy in action in the last 6, 8, 10 months.
And the only reason that worked was because of the threat of the knife to the throat of the outside groups and media. We were about to get international attention.
But Jamie, the bottom line here is, if you have that type of, you know, I worked in a park system, and I've done that for 10, 17 years. I've known that it's being done, and it's being done all over the municipalities. And you know, after this came out, I checked with the warden, and he said the same. They got more culverts than we got, so they got bigger problems.
But talking process, so wouldn't it be better for the city hall and council to come up with the ideas from the inside and be progressive and proactive than being shamed by the national media to do something?
I don't think it's, you know, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the process should be, to try to shame somebody. I think the process is to have a meeting, convince you, listen, this is what we want to do. And I can guarantee you, being in the system before, I would gladly work to try if we could solve an issue.
Well, Andre, you were one of the few councillors to actually dialogue on the subject, but the fact of the matter is that Rebecca and I both presented to council. Rebecca was rejected to present to council. The group from BC was rejected by Mayor Kilger personally the first time. The process wasn't there.
Process again.
We had to get heavy artillery to get the process to go through. The results are, you know, sometimes it's not the results that matter, it's the process.
Well, I'm going to tell you that when you talk about not coming to council, as I told you before, it's not council to make decisions come before us. It goes in.
No, it's Madam Clerk, I understand. But the thing is, we filed.
And they talk to the mayor and then CAO, and then they decide whether or not they're allowed them to.
When Rebecca, when Rebecca applied the first time, Madam Clerk said, we can't let you come until you speak to these people. And we had the meeting, and then they were allowed to speak. It is, Madam Clerk, but it's coming to council, and anyone in the community should be allowed to speak before council.
Should the clerk have the sole authority to decide who speaks?
I don't think she has. No, she will dialogue with the CAO and the mayor if she's not sure.
But should not the request go to council and council decide? It's council that's going to listen to the presentation. Why can't council have the right to decide who they want to hear?
Because they call that micromanaging. You bring it up and you're micromanaging.
But you are our government.
Well, and the term is called coming to council. It's not coming to the city clerk.
No. Well, this is the way the process works now. And it's not only Cornwall, it's all municipalities work that way. So it's not something, and if you know of a different way that other municipalities are doing it, let me know and we'll look at it.
But then, this is a complaint that you've been voicing for all along, the only information you're going to get is the information that the clerk or the CAO wants you to have.
Well, as I say, this is the process being used now.
So it could be used, very easily used, to keep council in the dark.
It shouldn't be used that way.
But have you not?
There's no safeguard.
You've been kept in the dark.
Are you asking me if there's some information they have that we don't have? Yeah, they do.
So council's being deliberately kept in the dark on issues.
Deliberately? That's what I was going to. Maybe that's what the municipal act calls for. I don't know.
Well,
why else would they keep council in the dark?
Well, keep council in the dark. I'm saying keep council in the dark. I'm saying is, and I've said that before. Some of the information don't come at the time it should come, or comes later.
Or it doesn't come at all.
The same request that I've asked for.
So the $64,000 question is why?
We're still investigating the mail not coming to you guys. So.
Well, I told you that before. I don't know if I never got it, so I really don't know if it's coming.
I'm not
So
questioning on that now.
Yeah. All I'm saying is there a place for improvement? I think so. Is it time now that some people are retiring? I think it's a great time to take a look at how council wants to be more transparent with the municipality. It's important. I can't stress enough. It's important for the residents to get involved. And I can tell you that after this interview, I probably won't be invited for a coffee anywhere by the mayor. But it has to be said, and I think it's time that this gets done.
Thank you, Councilor Rivette.